Commander Lord Sorvik stood tall on the bridge of the World Breaker. His primary arms crossed firmly, his secondary arms drummed impatiently on his command throne. Around him, the great ship hummed with perfect precision, a war machine that had never tasted defeat. Yet, today, something was wrong. The corrupted data file blinked on the main screen for the 7th time. The header read, Galactic Senate Threat Assessment Division File 77BX Sol 3 Earth, Status Inconclusive, Hazardous Archive Corrupted. Static flickered into fragments of reports, mixing military footage, scientific surveys, and frantic field reports. At the end, a voice broke through the noise. It was panicked and cracked with emotion. The voice said, "To whom it may concern, for the love of all that is sacred, they tried to tell the truth about Earth. Nobody listened. I tell you now, do not invade." Sorvik narrowed his eyes, but his bone quills twitched with irritation. He played the file again, watching images of Earth's chaos unfold, a smiling human woman reporting a man trying to trade a live alligator for beer, and the man's subsequent arrest, thermal images of a lone soldier in a snowy forest who, armed only with a knife and dental floss, dismantled an entire platoon of combat androids using cruel and clever traps, dashcam footage of a pickup truck racing alongside a tornado, the driver shouting with joy instead of fear. The final scenes were the most baffling. Nuclear explosions from Earth's mid-20th century appeared, yet instead of panic, people had picnics to watch the mushroom clouds. Children played on irradiated swings. Adults clinked beer bottles, laughing as atomic fire painted the sky. Primitive fearmongering, Sorvik scoffed. The humans probably caused this themselves. In a dark corner, chains rattled. Vikram Karoran, a prisoner captured during a raid, raised his head. His species, the Carricks, had been conquered for centuries. He was kept alive only for his knowledge of obscure languages, valuable to the pirate armada. But Vikram carried a secret. He had been part of a scouting mission to Earth 5 years ago. The mission was cut short when the funding vanished, and he barely escaped alive after months hiding in a place called New Jersey. "It's not propaganda," Vikram said, his voice rough and broken. "It's a highlight reel. A species that films its own disasters for fun, that turns predators into elected leaders, that races tornadoes for sport." His black eyes locked onto Sorvik's. "You are walking into a planet-wide madness that has brewed for 300,000 years." The guard struck Vikram down, but he managed a final warning: "They don't have a word for proportional response." Sorvik laughed, bone quills rattling. "Then we will teach them one." The truth was, Sorvik couldn't afford to heed warnings. His science officer burst in, panic sharp in his voice. Another faster-than-light coil on their flagship was going critical. The fleet was breaking apart faster than expected. At this rate, half their ships would drift aimlessly in space within a month. Sorvik's eyes drifted to the geological surveys of Earth. The planet was a blue jewel filled with pure weapons-grade syndrium, a rare mineral needed for their weapons. Earth's violent tectonic activity produced more syndrium in a single year than many worlds did in a millennium. Yellowstone alone could power their fleet for centuries. The primitives sit on a fortune they cannot even detect, Sorvik mused. His tactical officer Gorath, a battle-hardened veteran, brought up Earth's military profile. They rely on chemical-based firearms and fission warheads. Outdated technology we surpassed long ago. But their society, it's troubling. Explain. Gorath frowned. Their communications are completely decentralized. Billions of signals, no central command. Their civilians carry personal weapons, meaning their government can't hold a monopoly on violence. Their media celebrates absurdity and chaos. They broadcast their dysfunction as entertainment. This world is dying, perfect for conquest. Vikram coughed, lifting his head despite the guards. "No, that is not random chaos. That is consensus. Their strength is that they have no central command. You cannot cut off the head of a creature made entirely of teeth. Sorvik rose, spreading his 4 arms wide. Then we will burn the whole body. We strike first at their island continent, Australia. Establish a beachhead, then spread like a plague. As dropped ships prepared, Vikram slumped in his chains. I tried to warn you. The universe will remember. I only hope someone is left to remember. The first wave of Karnak drop ships tore through Earth's atmosphere at dawn, their heat shields glowing like shooting stars. Initial contact was exactly as planned. Earth's conventional forces were overwhelmed by orbital bombardment. For 12 hours, victory seemed certain. Then, in hour 13, everything changed. Karnak communications faltered. Orders arrived garbled. Tactical displays conflicted. Somewhere in Sydney, Baza Mackenzie gathered a ragtag group of bikers and tradespeople, the Western Sydney Defence League. Alien drones think they've won, Baza shouted. Remember the plan from the pub? The one where we make them regret ever hearing about Earth? Thumbo grinned. The landing zone had been declared pacified, but as a Carrick trooper stepped out, a pickup truck slammed into him at 60 kilometers an hour. The driver, sporting a mullet and missing teeth, leaned out. Welcome to Strya, you space mongrel. Bet your fancy computers didn't see this coming. The trooper raised his plasma rifle, but it shorted out. Sparky Williams, an electrician with a mad scientist's heart, had set up a stolen city transformer into a massive EMP generator. That's for making me work on a Saturday, he yelled. Elsewhere, trained alien soldiers found themselves outmatched by unruly humans who ignored rules. Lieutenant Kurak, a proud Carrick soldier, faced a human in single combat. Kurak's strength and reach gave him the advantage. But the human headbutted him hard, cracking his armored faceplate, then bit down on his arm, ignoring every combat protocol. The human swung a cricket bat, an alien weapon to them, and knocked Kurak unconscious. The worst came from above. Carricks had catalogued Earth's fierce predators, lions, bears, sharks. But they had never prepared for the Australian magpie. A swarm of these birds attacked with brutal precision, aiming for weak spots in armor and sensors. The sky filled with screaming as soldiers fell. Then the kangaroos came. A mob led by a towering buck stood 7 feet tall. They kicked with industrial strength and boxed with surprising skill. One soldier fired at a kangaroo, only to be kicked through a tourist shop window. His last sight was a T-shirt reading, "I survived Australia." In orbit, Sorvik watched in stunned silence. His elite forces, conquerors of 100 worlds, were routed by civilians, animals, and a teenager wielding a flaming didgeridoo. His communication officer's voice cracked, "Sir, the humans are singing." Indeed, they were. As they fought, defenders broke into a ragged version of Waltzing Matilda, except the song told stories of kicking alien ass and teaching space dogs how things work down under. Vikram allowed a faint smile. They're not panicked. They're having fun. You've given them the best Saturday they've had in years. Sorvik's quills flattened against his skull in frustration. Commander Sorvik's fury was quiet but burning. The humans' chaotic resistance was unlike anything his forces had faced before. Their disorganized fight was effective, confusing, and strangely joyful. It was maddening. His command orders echoed through the World Breakers systems: increased deployment. Global dispersal pattern. If one city resists, we'll take 1,000. The plan was to overwhelm, to crush Earth with simultaneous strikes across every major population center. For the first 48 hours, the plan worked. Superior firepower, orbital bombardment, and precision strikes wiped out many human defenses. Yet, the humans adapted, as they always did. In Appalachia, USA, Cletus and his cousin Dale watched from a hidden blind, rifles trained on an elite Carrick patrol moving through the dense mountain forest. "Well, they ain't from around here," Cletus said, steady on his scope. "Nope," Dale agreed, adjusting the tension on a strange device, a mix of moonshine still and trebuchet. Think we should tell them about the punji pits? Neighborly? Nah. We ain't neighborly. The patrol moved in perfect formation, their thermal scanners silent. The commanding officer began to relax, until the music started. A maddening, plinking banjo tune echoed, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. The soldiers froze, weapons raised, then fell into hidden pits lined with sharpened stakes. Their armor, designed to deflect energy weapons, did little against old-fashioned pointed sticks. Survivors scrambled, only to trigger tripped wires that bent trees like massive bows. Logs studded with railroad spikes slammed down like freight trains. One soldier dodged, but stepped into a bear trap rigged with alien tech scavenged from their own supplies. Over comms came the terrified scream of a leader talking about ghost banjos in trees that knew his name. Cletus and Dale passed around a jar of clear liquid. Think we overdid it? Dale asked. Before Cletus could answer, a Carrack heavy tank rumbled into view, drawn by distress signals. Hell no, Cletus said, lighting a rag stuffed into a mason jar filled with moonshine and alien fuel cells. He threw it at the tank's intake vent. The explosion lit the forest, visible from orbit. In Neo-Tokyo, Japan, the Yakuza were furious. Their underground world was shaken. The invasion disrupted supply chains, scared away customers, and, worst of all, damaged 3 premium vending machines. Suzuki and Yamamoto, heir to a powerful crime family, stared at footage of Carrack soldiers ransacking a pachinko parlor. Extend hospitality to our visitors, he ordered with a grim smile. What followed was a masterclass in guerrilla warfare versus organized crime. Carrack assassination squads tasked with wiping out Earth's leadership found their targets hiding in noodle shops, corporate offices, and apartments. They were ready. Squad 7 entered an abandoned arcade to kill a local crime boss. The tactical data showed no guards, only old human machines. The doors sealed behind them. Suddenly, the arcade sprang to life, seizure-inducing lights and blaring J-pop filled the room. The squad leader fired his plasma rifle, but the walls laughed at it. The entire building began to tilt and spin, like a twisted carnival ride. Alien soldiers stumbled and fell, as cybernetic street racers in souped-up cars crashed through walls, batting them with baseball bats. When the dust settled 30 minutes later, recovery teams found the Carrack soldiers arranged like an ikebana flower arrangement. Each had a haiku pinned to their armor, invaded our home. The cherry blossom don't care. Neither do Yakuza. On the Autobahn in Germany, 73-year-old Hans Müller prepared for battle of a different kind. His Porsche 911 Turbo and a crew of senior racers lined up against alien hover tanks speeding at 300 km per hour. Formation Delta, let's show them why we don't have speed limits, Hans barked. The race was chaos. The humans, skilled at controlled chaos, weaved through barriers, weaving past construction zones, while the tanks crashed one by one. Hans's nephew William had rigged electromagnets under every overpass, disrupting the hover tech. By sunset, the A7 looked like a graveyard of alien tanks. The racing club, unharmed, stripped the wrecks for parts, laughing and planning upgrades. In Siberia, Russia, Lieutenant Commander Theorem's forces faced an enemy beyond comprehension, the brutal winter. Equipment designed for space failed at -60°C. Then came the old woman, a babushka, carrying steaming soup and a secret drink. Babushka brings warmth, she said with a smile that was part kindness, part madness. The soldiers drank. One after another, their frostbite disappeared. They laughed and danced half-naked in the snow before being found frozen, smiles of joy frozen on their faces, the babushka's pot empty nearby. While Earth's defenders fought in the physical world, 19-year-old Isaac Ray, a computer genius, prepared his own assault. Surrounded by energy drink cans and screens held together with tape, Isaac hacked into the Carrack fleet systems from his mother's basement. He found a critical weakness, a legacy backdoor in the ship's material fabricators that controlled weapons and communications. Hour 1, He mapped the system and planted hidden programs. Hour 2, all ammunition requests produced rubber chickens, literal squeaky ones. Hour 3, communications transmissions now began with a fitness test beep that couldn't be skipped, followed by annoying ads. Hour 4, diagnostic displays showed a 10-hour loop of a cat playing piano, using most of the ship's processing power. Isaac infiltrated the fleet's internal social network, posting as high-ranking officers. Commander Sarvik just discovered anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion. Will report back, one message read. The psychological impact was brutal. Soldiers raised in rigid obedience couldn't understand if orders were real or jokes. Morale crumbled. Officers refused to give commands without listening to ancient Earth pop songs. On the World Breaker, Sarvik watched a cat hitting piano keys endlessly. His arms trembled, his bone quills bent permanently from stress. "Turn it off," he whispered. "We can't, sir," his tech officer said grimly. "The human has root access to everything. He says our encryption is adorable." "How long?" 6 more hours, unless we hard reset." "Do it. All weapons, shields, navigation offline." Isaac leaned back, grinning. The flagship was shutting down. "Okay, alien dudes," Isaac said, "let's see how you like this." He uploaded a startup sound file. Baby Shark played on bagpipes at double speed, on infinite loop. The universe had a sense of humor, but the Carracks did not. The World Breaker was silent, crippled. Isaac's hacking was a masterstroke of chaos, striking at the heart of the Carrack fleet. Orders tangled in endless loops of silly sounds and endless videos of cats playing piano. Rubber chickens clattered in the factories instead of ammunition. The soldiers, once disciplined and proud, now doubted every command. Across Earth, the invasion was crumbling into madness. Alien soldiers ran from mobs of angry civilians armed with nothing more than cricket bats, improvised EMPs, and sheer determination. Videos flooded the internet. Helmet cams showed Carracks chased by emus, attacked by babushkas with steaming soup, mocked into insanity by TikTok dances. The hashtag #AlienFail was trending everywhere. Even bounty hunters in distant sectors swore off Earth, suddenly remembering urgent business far away. In Jacksonville, Florida, amidst the rubble of Mickey's bar, 3 unlikely heroes gathered. Darla Knox, an ex-Special Forces mercenary with a cybernetic arm, glared at the destruction of her favorite bourbon. Lance, a denim-wearing rebel with a raccoon named Bandit strapped to his shoulder, nodded grimly. And Isaac Ray, the teenage hacker whose fingers danced faster than lightning over his keyboards. "Time to return the favor," Darla said, cracking her knuckles. Isaac pulled up a holographic map of the Carrack fleet. "They're retreating. Regrouping near their flagship. There's a transport ship on the edge, skeleton crew, fast, minimal guards." "How fast?" Lance asked. "Fast enough to catch their flagship before it jumps to faster than light," Isaac grinned. The plan was wild. They would board the transport, steal it, and chase down the World Breaker. To get in, they needed a key, biometric locks tied to Carrack bone quills. Isaac pulled out a bag of slightly charred bone quills. "Bought these from an Aussie online." Darla laughed. "Let's go alien hunting." The team, now known as Rathorn, prepared for the most reckless mission in human history. Bandit, the raccoon, growled at the sky, clearly cursing in raccoon language. The World Breaker limped through space, crippled and humiliated. Its screens flickered with endless cat videos and error messages. Somewhere deep inside, a printer churned out sheets reading, "Humans were here," in giant letters. Commander Sarvik sat broken on his bridge. His once proud bone quills drooped like overcooked pasta. His arms hung useless at his sides as he read casualty reports, 89% of ground forces lost. His lieutenant hesitated. "Sir, Battalion 7 has declared themselves a metal band. They modified their armor with spikes and play loud earth instruments." Sarvik's eye twitched. Battalion 12 communicates only in GIFs. And Battalion 19? They formed a football club. They challenged Battalion 23 to a derby. Both battalions paint their faces and sing insulting songs. Sarvik's pride shattered. This was how Earth broke his army, not with power, but with sheer weaponized madness. Order a retreat. Full burn to jump point. Regroup at Karashir spacing. As the flagship prepared to flee, the navigation officer's voice cracked. Proximity alert. Incoming ship. Designation, Eternal Discipline. Identify. The screen flickered to reveal a human female with cybernetic arms standing on the transport's bridge. Behind her, a scruffy human male had his feet on the console, feeding snacks to a strange Earth animal. Nearby, a young human sprayed, property of Earth, on the bulkhead. Sup, the female said. I'm Captain Knox of the Rabbit Honey Badger. Love what you've done with the place. Very doom and gloom. We redecorated. Hope you don't mind. Sarvik gaped. How did you, your boy Isaac here, she said, nodding at the hacker. Says your security is weaker than gas station Wi-Fi. Oh, and check your logs. He replaced your journal entries with fanfiction about you having a crush on someone named Garrus Vicarian. Isaac shouted from the background, it's a classic slow burn enemies to lovers story. What do you want? Sarvik managed. Darla smiled, teeth bared. You came to our home uninvited. You wrecked our stuff. You scared our pets. Bandit hissed loudly. Now, we're going to play a game called Consequences. You run, we chase. And when we catch you, and we will, we're going to teach you why Earth has warning labels. She cut the transmission. Maximum burn, evasive patterns at 9. Lose them in the asteroid field, Sarvik ordered. For 6 hours, the World Breaker ran through dense asteroid belts and past burning wreckage, with the Rabbit Honey Badger close behind. It wasn't just chasing, it was hurting them. Sir, a sensor officer reported, voice trembling, they're broadcasting audio. The bridge filled with loud music, yak sax playing at a volume that made skull plates vibrate. The song played for 3 hours straight. On the Rabbit Honey Badger, Isaac looked up. Dude's never played Star Fox. His evasion's tutorial level. Taking manual control, Darla said, a grin spreading. What are you, 12? 19, Isaac shot back. Beat Dark Souls with a dance pad. Easy mode. The transport twisted and spun through debris with the skill born of procrastination and a lifetime of video games. Lance held Bandit to the viewport. Show him your war face, buddy. The raccoon chittered fiercely at the retreating dreadnought. Finally, the World Breaker was trapped in the shadow of a dead moon, no more room to run. Darla opened a channel. Knock knock. Sarvik, exhausted and broken, responded, who's there? The consequences of your actions. Commander Sarvik stared at the screen as Darla Knox's voice came through crisp and clear. You've got 2 choices. Option 1, keep running. We'll chase you across the galaxy. Every stop, every sleep, you'll hear yak sax, your crew mutiny, and your ship fall apart. She smiled darkly. Option 2, come aboard our ship alone. No weapons. Just you. We're borrowing you for a little while. Bandit, the raccoon, climbed onto the console and gave Sarvik a tiny middle finger. It was clear the creature was proud of its gesture, having learned it recently. Sarvik's officers looked ragged, some humming the yak sax tune endlessly, others desperately trying to close endless cat videos. Sarvik sighed. I'll come aboard. Just, stop the music. Deal, Darla said brightly. Transporter room 3. Come alone. And please, bring a sense of humor. We're going to need it. Sarvik rose, straightening his battered uniform. From his dark corner, Vikram Karoran whispered, I tried to warn you. Yes, you did. Sarvik paused. Any advice? Pray, Vikram said sadly. They may be feeling merciful. And if not, pray it's quick. Sarvik materialized in the cargo bay of the Rabbit Honey Badger. What should have been a grim, sterile transport was instead a chaotic studio. Duct-taped lights hung beside professional equipment. A makeup station was crudely set up with a sign reading, You're pretty, and bright lipstick. Lance was teaching Bandit how to operate a camera. No, buddy, the red button. Red. That's blue. No, don't turn on the disco setting. Actually, keep that, Lance laughed. Darla stood in the center, wearing a director's beret and holding a clipboard. Commander Sarvik, welcome to Earth's funniest home invasions. I'm your host, the girl whose bourbon you vaporized. This is Lance, the guy whose raccoon you traumatized. And that's Isaac, who's been living rent-free in your ship's computers. Sup. Isaac didn't look up from his laptop. By the way, I replaced all your emergency alerts with Owen Wilson saying, wow, you're welcome. Sarvik straightened as much as he could. I am Commander Lord Sarvik of the Carrax Armada. I demand, buddy, Darla cut in, smiling wide, you're in no position to demand anything. You could have left. Taken the loss, told everyone Earth was full of disease or something. But no. You had to make it personal. You invaded our home, wrecked our stuff, and interrupted Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday is sacred, Lance added solemnly. Darla shook her head. Now we're sending a message, not to you, you're just the messenger. To every would-be conqueror, pirate, or alien dipstick who thinks Earth is an easy target. She snapped her fingers. Isaac hit a key. Suddenly, the entire sector's communications lit up. The most powerful Carrack transmitter streamed live to the galaxy. Citizens of the galaxy, Darla announced, you're watching a special presentation by the humans of Earth. Our guest thought it would be fun to invade a planet that splits atoms for fun and calls Florida Man a lifestyle choice. Let's see how that worked out for them. What followed was the most humiliating spectacle in galactic history. Clips showed every failed invasion attempt, every Carrack soldier running from wildlife, every commander defeated by civilians wielding improvised weapons. The footage was edited with comic sound effects and a laugh track. Interviews followed. Carrack prisoners, well treated but clearly defeated, explained how they were outsmarted by children, outfought by the elderly, and broken psychologically by human dances. The centerpiece was Sarvik himself. Darla brought out a bucket of industrial adhesive. On Earth, we have a tradition. When someone does something spectacularly stupid, we commemorate it. Sarvik tried to protest, but it was too late. Lance approached with a bag of feathers, synthetic pillow stuffing. He covered Sarvik in feathers, turning the mighty commander into the galaxy's angriest chicken. Darla held up a sign in multiple languages, I invaded a planet of apex trolls, and all I got was this lousy feather suit. Isaac smiled. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, Commander Sarvik's statement. They shoved a script in front of Sarvik. His pride fought the humiliation, but the broadcast was live. I, Commander Lord Sarvik of the Carrax Armada, do hereby formally apologize to the people of Earth. Not for invading, that was business. But for being so monumentally, cosmically, hilariously stupid as to think it was a good idea. He continued, each word peeling away his warrior pride. We, the so-called Carrax Pirate Armada, officially redesignate Earth. It is not a primitive world. It is not an easy target. It is Class 12. Do not quarantine. Do not answer their calls. Do not accept their friend requests. Do not land there unless you want to find out what happens when a species that invented nuclear weapons and reality TV decides your entertainment. Darla prompted, and for the love of the void, do not touch their squirrels. Sarvik's shoulders slumped. The squirrels remember, Isaac said softly. The squirrels are watching, Darla smiled. Bandit climbed onto Sarvik's head, grooming himself with royal disdain. The camera zoomed in on the feather-covered commander being used as a grooming post by Earth's most vindictive trash panda. The broadcast held the image for a full minute. Across the galaxy, billions watched the once feared pirate commander reduced to a laughingstock. That's a wrap, Darla said cheerfully. Thanks for watching Earth's funniest home invasions. Remember, if you're thinking about visiting Earth, just don't. We have Florida. We're not afraid to use it. The broadcast ended with a cheerful jingle and a title card, this message brought to you by humanity. We're not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with us. The broadcast sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Within hours, the humiliating footage reached every civilized world. The Galactic Senate called an emergency session, though most members simply watched the video again, wincing and shaking their heads. The Zephroni Empire, long planning their own Earth invasion, quietly deleted all records of those plans and pretended they never existed. A 50 million credit bounty was placed on the Rathorn crew, Darla, Lance, Isaac, and Bandit. But it might as well have been toilet paper. Every bounty hunter who saw the broadcast suddenly remembered urgent business in the opposite direction from Earth. Vikram Karoran was freed, as promised. Darla personally unlocked his chains. Lance offered him a cold beer. Isaac set up a GoFundMe to help Vikram retire. But the old scout declined Earth's offer to become their first galactic ambassador. I appreciate the gesture, he said, nursing his first therapeutic drink in years. But I've had enough excitement for several lifetimes. I think I'll open a bar somewhere quiet. Somewhere very, very far from your planet. What will you call it? Lance asked. The last warning, Vikram smiled sadly. And I'll make sure everyone who enters knows exactly what it means. Months later, the last warning became the most famous bar in 3 sectors. Not for its drinks, which were mediocre, nor its atmosphere, which was deliberately depressing. No, it was famous for the wall of screens that played Sarvik's humiliation on loop, 24/7. Below the video ran a simple message: they tried to tell the truth about Earth. This is what happens when nobody listens. As for the Rathorn, they became Earth's unofficial ambassadors to the galaxy. They arrived at the Galactic Senate aboard the Rabbit Honey Badger, a ship now painted matte black with flame decals, its horn blasting La Cucaracha, and truck nuts hanging from the rear stabilizer. Their first act was to demand the universal translator be updated to include over 700 swear words from 90 Earth languages, the entire script of The Big Lebowski, and something called yeet, a word with no direct translation but vital context. Their second act was to declare deep-fried butter a protected cultural artifact to be served at all diplomatic functions. The third act proposed settling the Andromeda territorial dispute with a good old-fashioned arm wrestling tournament. The galaxy watched in horrified fascination as Earth's representatives tore down every diplomatic norm. They wore leather jackets to formal ceremonies. They brought Bandit to treaty negotiations. They embarrassed the entire Senate by sneaking the fitness test anthem into a trade agreement's mining rights section. Yet, beneath the chaos was a clear message: we're here. We're crazy. And we're not going anywhere. The invasion of Earth had failed so spectacularly it created a new phrase in galactic history. To pull a Sarvik meant to fail so badly that even your enemies felt sorry for you. Across space, on monitoring stations, military vessels, trade ships, and pirate hideouts, beings gathered to watch the broadcast. They laughed at the absurdity, winced at the humiliation, and quietly made a note: whatever you do, wherever you go, whatever you're planning, don't invade Earth. Earth was no ordinary planet. It was a punchline with nuclear weapons, a practical joke with a space program, and a universal warning label written in the language of "Don't mess with us." The warning had been given. The truth had been told. This time, everyone listened.